In some cultures, it's usual to say things very directly. The presentation wasn't good. I don't like that idea. Get that to me straight away. In other cultures, we make an effort to word things in a more indirect way, so we sound polite and to avoid offending the person we're communicating with. I think the presentation could benefit from a few changes. I'm not entirely convinced about that idea. Would you be able to send that to me after the call? Generally speaking, if we compare Ukrainian culture and British culture, Ukrainians tend to be more direct in their delivery, and Brits tend to be more indirect. In the workplace, when we have a mixture of direct and indirect cultures, this can lead to some tension because the message may be received as rude simply because the delivery style is very different. Likewise, it can also lead to confusion. If a message is delivered so softly, so indirectly, its importance can sometimes be completely missed by the listener. This video isn't about saying whether the indirect or direct approach is best. Both have their pros and cons, and it may depend on the situation and the person that you're talking to. But it's incredibly valuable, even necessary, to know how to word things politely. Then you can confidently choose which is the appropriate way to word something to get the results that you want and to build good relationships with your colleagues. So let's look at 5 politeness hacks for the workplace. So, hack 1, modals. Would, could, may, and might. Instead of, that isn't possible for us, that wouldn't be possible for us. That's an unpopular strategy, that might be an unpopular strategy. In both these examples, the message is more or less unchanged, but the delivery is softer. You can also use modals to make polite requests. Could you send me that report by next week? Would you be able to call me later today? Hack 2, downgraders. Downgraders lessen the impact of the word or sentence they're attached to. So they're words like slightly, a few, a little, to a certain extent. So I'm concerned about that. I'm a little concerned about that. We're running behind schedule. We're running slightly behind schedule. I see it differently. I see it differently to a certain extent. To a certain extent means partly, but not completely. So I may agree with some of what you're saying, but not 100%. Hack 3, limiting phrases. These are phrases which say something isn't possible now, but they give the suggestion that maybe it could be possible in the future, even in cases where it's clear it's not going to change. Limiting phrases include things like so far, at the moment, currently, on this occasion. And they can be very useful when you deliver bad news. So for example, we're going with another provider. On this occasion, we're going with another provider. We aren't able to help you. Currently, we aren't able to help you. We haven't found a solution. We haven't found a solution so far. So you see, it keeps the hope alive. You may still find a solution. Hack 4, using positive adjectives for negative messages. So this one's a little bit more difficult to explain, but stick with me because it's a very useful language trick and technique when you need to give negative feedback or make a complaint. So if you want to say, for example, you're unhappy with someone's performance, instead of using this negative adjective, unhappy, you would use the positive form, happy, but put it together with not plus an adverb like very, completely, totally, entirely. So you would say, we're not totally happy with your performance. We're unsatisfied with the work you've done. We're not completely satisfied with the work you've done. I'm unconvinced by this idea. I'm not entirely convinced by this idea. You seem uncommitted to the job. You don't seem fully committed to the job. And our last hack today, hack 5, use softeners. Words like I'm afraid, unfortunately, to be honest. These all signal that bad news is about to follow, but they just make it sound a little bit nicer. I can't make it to the meeting. I'm afraid I can't make it to the meeting. The product isn't available. Unfortunately, the product isn't available. I don't think that strategy will work. To be honest, I don't think that strategy will work. This last one, to be honest, may sound a little strange to people from direct cultures because they expect people to be honest anyhow and say what they feel. But it is a phrase that we sometimes use when we know the words we're about to say may not be so welcome, but it's necessary for us to say them. Something you may have noticed during the lesson is that when we're trying to be polite and less direct, the sentences often become longer because we use all these techniques and all these filler words and expressions to soften our message. So we're running behind schedule, for example, can become unfortunately, we're running a little bit behind schedule at the moment. So if you come from a direct culture and someone is using a lot of this language and you really want to understand and get to the heart of the message, just in your mind, take out all these filler words. So for example, if you're told, I think a few changes to the presentation might improve it a little, take out all those filler words and you're left with changes to the presentation, improve it. What do they want? They want you to make some changes to that presentation, okay? Don't miss the message. So there's 5 very useful politeness hacks for business, and I recommend you start using them as soon as possible. To help you feel more comfortable, I've created a free PDF that you can download from the link below. It's got everything we did in the lesson today, plus the chance to do some practice sentences using these techniques. If you want to improve your business English further and really take it to the next level and also learn some more hacks like the ones that we looked at today, then you can also click on the link to get in contact with me about my business English courses. I hope today's been helpful, and if so, please like, subscribe and share.